What's up, Rockstars? Today I have a big news video for you. This is covering next month and beyond. I got some non-Kickstarter stuff for you. I got some Kickstarter stuff. I got some cancellations, some talking points, some renewals for even 2022 I'll be talking about. There's a lot here, so let's just go ahead and dive right in. Now, as always, a huge shout out to my patrons and YouTube members. It is through their financial support that I'm able to bring you this honest coverage of the game industry. That's because I take no money from no game developer ever, so that you don't have to worry about what I say coming from them and not me. It's my opinion, not my wallet's opinion, and if you appreciate that and can give, there's a link down below, and I greatly appreciate it. Additionally, if you can't, that's fine too. I understand, or even if you just don't want to, I get it. A like on your way out, a comment saying this video was helpful, all of that is great, and I appreciate it. So thank you so much for all of the support and for being such great rock stars in this community. Now, let's go ahead and get into it. I should say I've had a busy day. My cat, we had to take him to the vet and spend hundreds of dollars there to find out that he just has a stomach bug and all sorts of life stuff, right? But I'm here right now talking to you guys here, so let's just go ahead and dive right in. I'm going to start with Maximum Apocalypse Wasted Wilds. Now, I have looked at every single campaign I'm going to cover today, but only, like 10 to 20 minutes each. So that's still, by the way, hours. But I'm doing what I can to actually give you guys some good content here. This is not the first Maximum Apocalypse. This Mike guy has done quite a few of these, so this is definitely the latest and greatest kind of thing, if you can kind of think of it that way. It kind of reminds me of Fallout, like the old Fallout that's kind of goofy, kind of silly, right? And that there's a little bit of, like sentient monkeys and stuff going on and, just silliness and wackiness and all sorts of stuff here. But also like hardcore, like The Walking Dead kind of stuff as well. I really like how this campaign's laid out, by the way, because it starts out saying, day 10, funded in an hour. I don't care about that, but I do care that we're about halfway, not even quite halfway through yet. So that's kind of nice that this video actually shows some stuff about the gameplay, which is actually nice, that it's not a complete waste of your time. Right up front, it kind of gives you a little sense of it. My dog is barking because that's just what he does when he sees people playing that he can't play with. This is also nice. Why back now? Right up front. Hey, why would you want this? Well, you'll get it quicker. You'll get it, cheaper. Debatable on whether or not you're, because of shipping on how much you actually save, but you get it there, and you also get the stretch goals which you're involved in, and some Kickstarter exclusives and stuff like that. And then it goes into what's in the box. Now, they do have minis. I would not back this for the minis. Don't expect great things. They're just kind of basically sculpted, and even the renders look below some final delivery qualities I've had. So just don't go in here wanting minis. Like, they're there and they're cool, and they're 40mm, which is nice. I appreciate that. I would love to see 40mm become kind of the standard. That's just because I don't play Dungeons and Dragons. So I'm not trying to use my board games to play another game. I'm wanting it to just play the board game and be the best board game it can be. And in my opinion, that equals 40mm. It kind of ups the quality and lowers the quantity a little bit. So I don't get 27 different zombies. Instead, I might get 18 different zombies, but they're all bigger and better. So anyway, my 2 cents there. You got the dials and all that. I don't know why it comes with standees too. I guess if the minis are so bad you don't want to look at them, you can use the standee, which is fine. The art looks great, by the way. There's like a day-night cycle that it kind of goes around, and bad things happen, right? If you don't take shelter, you're going to get cold and, all that. That's the frost nip here and stuff like that. You have different tribes that you're, doing different things with and interacting with. There's all these map tiles are flipped upside down and you're going around and kind of exploring them. They call it like a roguelite, so I'm assuming the map is variable and you're moving around, you're getting different items each time, just trying to survive and kind of do well. So that's kind of where they're at there. They're doing alternate gender unlocks a lot. They're doing some monster unlocks, a few game stuff as well. But that just seems to be what they're focusing on. I don't know if this is miniatures or not, or I assume it's actually a miniature as well, but no, it just says character card and standee, so you don't actually get like a new mini or anything like that. But they are upgrading on wooden components, so there's a lot of wooden components and they're adding more to it. Anyway, that's pretty much that. It's an established system. Seems people like it. Looks kind of cool. I love roguelike games, so that is Maximum Apocalypse. You can go and check that out. I got 15 days to do it. By the time I launch this, it's probably 14 days. Next up, we have Robot Quest Arena Deck Building Game. This looks super cute. This looks way cuter than, even though Build a Robot from Starcadia Quests. And it's probably a better game, but I feel that's a low bar. But that's besides the point. I love the art, by the way. It reminds me of a game called Robopon. I don't know if you guys ever played that. I think it was on the Game Boy Color. I don't think it was Advance. I don't think it was Game Boy Advance. It was Game Boy Color. It was essentially Digimon / Pokemon kind of fused. So it was like Digimon, but closer to the Pokemon feel. It's called Robopon. It had a bigger cartridge than normal because you could like scan it or do some other. I loved it. Anyway, the art style kind of reminds me of that, or maybe even like Advanced Wars or something like that, or like old Nintendo style, if that makes sense. So I like that. As I think it looks cute. I like that they all kind of have their own special abilities. I like the different items, stuff like that. I will say that while it's nice, right? It's what, 49 or 89 bucks. $90 isn't that far off of one of the normal Kickstarters, and I feel the content is far less. Now, they do come with pre-painted minis. These are renders, not the pre-painted minis. Don't expect them to look just like this. But it just doesn't come with nearly as much as I think we're used to getting in a Kickstarter. And when it comes to skirmish games, unless I only want to play it a handful of times, I need a lot of options, right? It's one of the problems with, when we saw Bloodstone and stuff like that is you're like, well, how many times can I actually play this and have it really be different? Like, how many times can I play the same character over and over again? Or, it just, if you're always fighting the same people that you've already played and there's no new units or stuff like that, it just gets a little iffy. So the high-tech one at 90 gives you a few more, but it's still not a huge amount. So it's kind of like a deck builder, which is kind of cool. And maybe it works. Okay. So Twisted Fable, I loved, and it only had 6, I think, in the base game. But because each one could play 3 different ways, and each of those can then be intermixed to, make like 9 different ways. And there was the other stuff, like there's a amount of ways you can build them. Now, it doesn't look like they have the innate 3 decks like Twisted Fables does, so it looks like you're still coming from a common pool, but I imagine you can combine those to make them a little different. So there's probably a little bit more variety than what it looks like, but it's still very light on the content from what I can see. Just my first pass at it. Again, I haven't looked super in detail with it. It just doesn't look, it doesn't look like you'll be playing this for months and months. And maybe that's okay. Maybe that's fine. It just depends on how much you actually think you're going to want to even play a game. Half the time I back games and don't even play it once, or I play it 2 times and that's it. And it's like, well, what the heck? So what the heck do I know? I don't know. Outward Realms. This is kind of like a tabletop skirmish game. This video is pointless, which is unfortunate because it's a first-time creator, and these other 2 where people have done it before, like, hey, yeah, these videos are actually helpful. This one is just useless. It just shows minis that are painted on a skirmish board. It is kind of the measure and move, kind of Warhammer-style tabletop skirmish battle game, which is cool. I like that. They got some person to paint them up real nice, I think. The designs of them are cool. They do have frog people in, like, Metroid suits. But they're also fairly basic. Like, I think the paint job that they gave them makes it seem a lot more, advanced than don't expect Warhammer stuff here. As you can see, this is just, 4 panels and a kind of a weird shape there. But there's not a lot of frills or doodads. There's no bolts or screws or attachments or, it's all very sleek, very smooth. Like, as you can see, it looks like a low poly render of stuff. Even like the aliens here, again, like their talons and stuff are fairly all smooth and stuff like that. So it might not be the design that you like. It's not the design I like. I like stuff with a little bit more oomph than this. Like, I have my Necrons that I'm painting, and look at this, and this looks like a very basic, anyway. So not really my style, but it is kind of cool, and you can get different groups of them and stuff like that, and they have a lot of hover tanks going on there. The Mini Wargaming people did 3 video playthrough, so it's about 3 hours, because each one's, less, because each one's like 47 minutes kind of thing. So, you can go ahead and see how it plays by watching them play that. Obviously, I think they do have the rulebook as well, which is nice. So they're doing all the right things. It really just depends on if it's the style that you like and the game type that you like. But I think it's definitely legitimate. It looks kind of cool. Again, maybe just not quite my style visually. Next up, we have Mosaic, where a civilization game as a board game. Funded under 2 hours, whatever the heck that means. Doing fairly well at over $500,000, almost 5,000 backers, was 12 days ago, so doing quite well. To me, it looks like, Sid Meier's Civilization in a board game form. Without a whole lot of oomph behind it. They have like an idea of like a golden age thing, which is just kind of cool, I suppose. And there's a few other things, obviously, but for the most part, it's the normal kind of, you put your building there, and depending on where you get it, as resources you can expand that. You can send more people out. And then, of course, you have, like your technology tree that you're researching, you're building wonders, and very, to me, bog standard genre-wise. Now, whether or not it plays better than the other games that do this, I don't know. I've never played a board game version. I love the video games. Like, I get sucked into them. It'll be like 1 a.m. and I'll do the one more turn syndrome. So one more turn. And then, of course, late game, you press, in turn, and then you have to wait for everybody else to do it. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm only 2 turns away from that unit being completed. So I'll go and do that. So I'll wait 2 turns. Well, I'm only 1 turn away now from my research doing that. So I'll just pick a new one and then I'll stop. And then, of course, once I do that, I was like, well, that let me build a building. So I'm going to go ahead and do that here. And then suddenly it's 4 a.m. Like, that's just how it works for me. It's really bad. I love the style of game. And so if this can capture it, that's pretty cool. That being said, again, don't get it for the minis. They look like poo-poo. And it's just not what you want. In my opinion, if you can't even get contrast in your renders, you're not going to get detail in your minis. I think that's pretty much the best way I can put it there. If you can't even take a digital image of it to make it look good, then I do not expect the final production. Look at this junk. Look at this. This kind of crap annoys me. Like, do you really think that you're going to get these tiny little posts on a mini that big? Do you really think you're going to do? No, that's a render without any concept or any constraint put onto the render to realize what it finally is. You're not making a digital image. You're making a miniature. That's the end goal. I just say this all the time. When I worked at HP, we would have to remind people we're making printers, not software. Right? This is not your emulator, it's not your simulator. This is going to be a printer where somebody has to stand there and wait for a page to come out. And people forget that, right? This is going to be a miniature where where it's this big, made out of soft plastic. Sculpt it accordingly. The sculpt should never look like that. Ever. The moment you either need to talk to your sculptor and let them know what they're actually making. It's not something for their ArtStation profile. It's a miniature for a board game. Or you need to get a new one. Like, you have to sculpt with it in mind. Don't sculpt it like impossible and then spend tons of money tooling it and changing it and modifying it and going back and forth with some Chinese manufacturer that's trying to make this thing that's impossible to make. That's expensive, and it just makes for a bad thing because you're either going to have a lot of rounds of tooling, or you're just going to be, just make it solid, or just get rid of it, or do something quick and dirty. Sculpt it right the first time. You don't even have to do that. Sculpt it right. That's BS. Same with like these like little tiny windows and look at all the little gaps in there. That thing's gonna be that big. That big. You think, no. Sculpt it right. Sorry. I don't know. I wasn't even planning on saying that. But then I saw it and I'm like, that's some BS stuff right there. No. It ain't gonna look like that. I can tell you, look at it. No. Nah. Look at this one. Look at this. What? How big do they think this is? It's gonna be that big! Yeah, guys, when this delivers, please send me a picture of the final minis. I want to forget about this game long before it delivers. But once it does, I would love to see those tiny little things that are that skinny sticking on the roof. Go ahead, just show me how that ends up. It ain't gonna look like that. They're gonna change it. They better change it. If they don't change it, it's gonna look like even worse. Okay, next, Red Grass Wet Palette 2. I use the Wet Palette 1 and I love it. It is my favorite wet palette by far. It has a great seal. I like the attachment system, though I didn't like the attachments that they had per se. I do like this one right here, this pot holder one. So, when I'm painting, I like little pots for the washes. I hate the pots, otherwise I use a drop top and use it like a normal bottle. But washes, I like to have an open pot because what ends up happening is I'm like washing somebody's fur cloak or worst of all, like skin or something like that. And if it's a squirt bottle, I didn't squirt enough. right? So now I have to go and shake and then squirt it, and then by the time I get back, I have tide marks. It's dried up, and I've ruined what I was trying to do. Or I put way too much on there because I don't want to run out. With a pot, I can use exactly the amount I want. I can dip in, I can do that, I can get more, until I'm done. And so I much prefer that. That being said, you're going back and forth with an open pot of wash now. So having a holder right next to my pot holder is nice. I have the little silicone ones, you 3D print ones, but they're not attached to your wet palette itself like that, which is super cool. When I went up to the cabin and we brought our painting stuff, again, it would be super convenient to have it there. This will work with the version 1, by the way. You can get it, and they'll even give you, like, magnets to be able to attach it, because it has little slots for it, so you can still magnetize it to the old one. The new one's a slot-on system, which looks better, too. Slightly bigger. It does not have the band on it anymore. It says it's a more flexible, I don't know if it's silicone lid, but either way, a more flexible lid. Hopefully that keeps a seal good. I do like having the band there, so it keeps it closed nicely. That being said, of course, that band will eventually wear out, I suppose. The rewashable, the paper that you put it on, I have not used yet. So I will. I got 13 days to use that. I'm gonna go swap out now. I have one that's like half filled, and I was trying to finish it, but I've been so busy putting these videos out and unboxing stuff and doing all this other stuff for you guys, so I haven't really been painting a lot lately. I did play another game of Warhammer, though, so there was that, I suppose. But anyway, I'll use it and let you guys know. I do conceptually like the idea that it's white instead of clear. I think the paints will look a little bit nicer on there, and then I guess I'll let you know from there. But anyway, yeah, new stuff there. Moving on, we have Monsters of Solan Fantasy Monster Miniatures. This is not for STLs. This is the actual plastic, not STL, plastic 28mm Dungeons & Dragons minis. Look, they got mushroom people, okay? So I don't know what to tell you. This, I don't know exactly, like, price point, like, how good of it, like, I didn't do any math or anything like that, mainly because I typically don't care what the per mini cost is. More often than not. Sometimes I'll figure it out, sometimes I won't. Really, it's just, do I like the minis that are on display? Do I feel the price is fair? Yes, no. It's a pass-fail. It's not a, well, this is 2 and this is 3, but not all minis are equal, right? There are some minis that are better than others. For instance, I think almost all of these look better than the ones from, gosh, what is that? Not Blackgate Games. They did the, like Streets of Rage, Aftershock kind of stuff going on there. I forget the company, I apologize, but they do some kind of generic D&D minis now, but I think they look fairly good. He's barking a lot, I apologize. He's having a great time out there, though, so there's that. I think these look a lot better. They have a lot more personality, for instance, like pointing at you like that, or a dragon reading books, right, or tortoises with cannons. We got all sorts of stuff here. We got lizards with goggles. We have a freaking shark and bear. Now, I do have questions here. I'm assuming either the sharks are dead or he's constantly putting them in water and moving them around, because sharks can't even breathe sitting in water. They have to move to be able to breathe because their gills don't naturally flow. So, little known fact. So, he's going to have to be swooshing his hands around in water to keep these shark hands alive. Rather unfortunate. I feel in any D&D campaign you could totally use that to your advantage and take him out quite easily. I think he's all bite and no bark, if you know what I mean. But there is a bear with sharks on his hands, and conceptually, I love it. So there's that as well. The Tiefling Outlander, actually, I think it looks fantastic. I love the weapon on the shoulder look that a lot of these guys have. The dolphin attached there looks cool. I like that. There's an angry beer golem. Again, so much more personality here. Here's a rat mancer. This is a rat made of rats. Okay, I'm telling you, I really dig these a lot more than the other ones. I think like there's a fantasy series 1, a fantasy series 2. I can't remember the name. Like Blackstone, I don't know, some junk. Anyway, I think these look way better. Just not really anything else about it. I just think it looks better. So there's that. Anyway, yeah, they look cool. I like it. Oh, there is a Hell Pug mount. So there's that too. Want a Hell Pug mount. Anyway, looks cool. I like it. I dig it. Okay, now, I'm going to start announcing some new games, but first of all, and some big IP games too. Let me thank INTOTHEAM for being the sponsor of today's video. You guys know that I wear these shirts all the freaking time. I have a lot of them now, and I love them. They look great. You guys have seen this for months now. Look how good that looks still. The print does not fade. It looks just like I freaking bought it. Like, it looks great. And oh my gosh, look at this one. This one is freaking sweet. Now, they have a huge Memorial Day sale going on. So this $3 for $60, that's going to go away. Okay. And instead it's 20% off the whole store. 20% off. Now, I have a 10% off code down below in the description that works on top of that. So 30% off anything you want. That's awesome. Trust me, that's good. That's cheap. And oh gosh, that looks so freaking cool. I want this one. This one looks great. I love it when the skull, is like kind of a black gray as opposed to like a white, if that makes sense at all. I've seen it a few times. It look good. By the way, if you're like, I'm too old to be able to wear cool stuff, they're still the best fitting, softest, nicest shirts I've ever had. And you can get the basic ones for even cheaper. So there's that. They're already like $15 a pop in that. So, yeah, just great stuff going on. Their boxes, by the way, are amazing. I had no idea I was missing out on stuff until I tried them out. They're awesome. So anyway, there's a lot of cool stuff here. Again, they have some new ones. They got freaking like DJ astronaut. They have universal code if you want some DNA in space, because why not? This Dreamer Tee is still high on my list of wants, along with so much more. Just such good designs. I freaking love it. Hey, look. Well, it's not quite me, but it's what I'm wearing. Really cool shirts. Amazing quality, amazing value. Again, 30% off with my code. Link down below. This is just for the Memorial weekend. If you're not from the USA, Monday here is Memorial Day, and normally, you're out of work and stuff like that. A lot of people barbecue for Memorial Day, cause it's, starting to get warmer, springtime, that kind of stuff. So Memorial Day weekend is a big deal for retailers as well, as they do some sales. So if you've been wanting to, if you won one of my 2 gift cards that you still need to contact me for, again, I'll put your names somewhere on here. Contact me and, I'll get you your gift cards and you can spend them on this. Trust me, you can get a lot of shirts for that. That'll be awesome. So anyway, thanks to them for the sponsorship, and we'll move right on along. Okay, this is like bleeding edge here. So Come On announced an Army of the Dead Zombicide game. Come On and Netflix working together. That's quick, right? I mean, this movie just came out, and they're like, bam, we're gonna have a board game. I don't know how different it's going to be. There's a lot of potential here, though, and I know people dismiss Zombicide easily, and I get that. I personally think that most people should have 1 or 2 versions of Zombicide in their game collection. They're very easy to get to the table. Your parents can love them. Your friends can love it. It's just generally a fun time to be had. They're very beer and pretzel style games. They're not they're not chess, and they don't need to be. They just need to be fun for people to have a good time with. So I don't mind Zombicide at all. Now, do I want 18 different versions of it? God, no. But I'll pick a few. Anyway, Army of the Dead is all about these zombies that start having a social structure and even essentially are like zombie people. And there's a lot of potential there mechanically. Now, will they capitalize on that? Probably not. But I'll be on the lookout for that because I do think that's interesting. I don't know what it would be if these zombies were not mindless, didn't just follow the loudest noise, but instead, maybe there's a different targeting order for them. Maybe they'll target whoever they can just, I don't know. I don't know. They're the game designers. I would love to see what they can do in that IP, not just to paint it, right? But to also actually have it mechanically match the IP as well. That'd be kind of interesting. So, and maybe they can come out with a dead pixel card or something like that, where you can get some dead pixels on one of your minis. I don't know. Maybe just add 3 little white dots. It's a thing. You can Google it. Okay, next up, Elder Scrolls. We already know there's a game found one coming up from Modifius, which did the tabletop version, which they do a great job on that. But this is Chip Theory Games, and you guys love your chips. Well, you're gonna get some Skyrim chips. So I'll link down below. You can go ahead and sign up for their email, and details are coming in 2022, so they announced it way early. But I told you guys, this is next month and beyond. I'm telling you guys all the deets right now, so you can get them right now. So here you go. It's gonna be a big deal. I can tell you that much. Next up, Lucky Duck Games is doing whatever Lucky Duck Games does. I shared this before. I'm sharing it again because I suspect we're going to get a lot more details here soon, but it looks cool. So there's that. Okay, next up, Wild Ascent, Levon Rising. I've shared this before. This is 32 days out, so we'll be at the end of June here. And the minis, again, look stellar. They did a great job on the Storm Sunder minis, and they're definitely going full on into the same kind of style of minis here, where you get freaking giant spider things. Again, they are raising the scale up. There is a bit of a fuss about the 1.0 and the 2.0 coming, I wouldn't call it 2.0, but the 1.2 coming out so soon afterwards. I don't have too much of a care for this just because they do, I mean, come on, this was almost said all the time, right? There's always, every single year they come out with one. And really I want to talk about this a little bit later as well, but the board game industry is very weird from a consumer perspective because we have so many different expectations than a lot of other things. Like, if you buy a cell phone and then next year another cell phone comes out that's better, right? And you don't typically cause a fuss because every year they're coming out with better phones or better computers or better cameras or better games or I don't know. It's a very weird thing to, I guess, have something and then be like, oh, it sucks. Now they made a better version for next year. Because also, I will say the campaign launching is not the game delivered, right? You'll still have your Wild Ascent for a whole year before the next one comes out, at least. Or 2.5 years if it's like Wild Ascent, right? Do I think they're spamming campaigns? Yes. I think they need to slow the freak down and actually work on the games that they have coming out. They were very slow with Wild Ascent. It took them a long time to do that. I get it. There's a lot of newness there and all that, but they still have a lot of Storm Thunder stuff to do as well. And now they're already doing this. And I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if they start putting more out after this one before delivering Storm Thunder 1.0. I'm going to have to yell at them on camera. I know they don't want me to do that. I don't want to do that. So let's focus on the games and not so much the campaigns. That being said, that thing's got some freaking sweet horns, I guess is all I'm saying. So it looks cool. I have played 2 games of Wild Ascent. I enjoyed them both. They were fine. So there's that. I need to play a lot more of the campaign before I do a review. I will try to do one within the next 32 days, but I also got Madara. I have 6 Siege, the board game from Mythic Games that I gotta play for you guys. There's all sorts of stuff that's going on. I still need to do Chronicles of Drunagar, but almost played enough, I feel, to do a proper review for that. I never did Kingdom Rush. There's always stuff coming, okay? So I'll do what I can. Anyway. Links down below to, of course, everything. Next up, we have Mortimizer's Magnificent Monsters of the Multiverse. 5e compatible monsters, but they look freaking sweet. So I don't know what the heck's going on here. Let's zoom in here a little bit, right? But, like, these are definitely some unique minis, right? This, crazy dude has a horn that's detached with a chain with another horn going on there. And then there's whatever the heck's going on with this guy. That being said, this totally reminds me of the Limbo Eternal War skeleton guy. So, but I love that guy, so I'm interested in this dude. In fact, he even has the shields in his, it's very close to that guy, and kind of a, I don't know, way, but still cool. So it's whatever. You can wear your inspiration on your sleeve all you want, but it is, I think, definitely inspiration there. Either way, looks like fairly unique stuff. And it's going to be 4 high-quality resin miniatures, so of massive and unique monsters for both painters and gamers. So it's going to be these 4 you're going to have. And maybe they'll unlock another, maybe they'll unlock him. I don't know. I'll let you guys know, though. I'm all about cool minis. Next up, Bloodstone, also 2022. They are not focusing on it so much right now because they are focusing on Valor and Villainy Ludwig's Labyrinth, which is launching in June. So there you go. I still haven't played my copy of the original one. And Tidal Blades 2, which is launching this fall. So they still have 2 more campaigns they're going to be doing before they get to this one. So it's going to be sometime in early 22. So it'll be Valor and Villainy, then it'll be Tidal Blades 2, and then probably maybe Bloodstone. So we'll see. They are doing a Necromancer. Love Necromancers, so there's that. This was kind of interesting, though. This is their survey results, and you'll see kind of what people wanted. And what people wanted was more options. Just like what everybody said. It just felt like there wasn't enough game there, right? They want more game. They don't necessarily want... Now, I would say a co-op campaign that isn't bare bones, bog standard, boring stuff would be great. But that's, we got bare skeleton bone, of a co-op campaign. A co-op campaign. It's you fight a monster that has, one unique rule and, then you get loot at the end and read a story blurb and move on to the next one. Like a wave-based arena game, really. But this is definitely the case. They want more custom dice. I don't care about that so much. More bosses, more champions, more options. If you're going to have a skirmish game, you need to have options, either different builds within that or different people to represent those different builds. So there's that. All right. I need a drink because I am tired and I don't get enough sleep. By the way, these rains are great. They allow you to keep going on 3 hours of sleep. It's a thing. Maybe. No. But anyway, like I was saying, no stretch goals. Hardly anything. Friendly international shipping. Right? Everybody screams about that. We just need an actual, like, content in this game. And then we could talk about shipping and all. Like, all that stuff's petty compared to the game itself. A lot of times, we get so focused on that. But we don't realize the only time you're focused on this is when this is already there. When there's already a cool looking game that you want. Then you're like, oh crap, but the shipping sucks, right? But you gotta get to the cool game that I want first. So, not surprising to me at all that content won out as what people want. I said it, I think everybody said it. Like there just wasn't enough game there. Okay, moving on. Funko is offering the Goonies, the board game. It's an IP retail game. I'm assuming it's crap. I just tend to do that by default unless proven otherwise. I've been burned many times before. That being said, I know my wife and kids especially would love this. It looks super colorful, so I dig that. It has like 9 games in it. $35.99. You can pre-order at Target. 22 foam movers. Let's see, what is it? It's 8 sculpted minis. 2 to 5 players, runtime of 15 minutes. Come on, where is it? I know that I said it. Anyway, there's like a few quests. Some of them are unique to the board game. Most of them are based off the movie, of course. But I know you guys love it. It says somewhere here. I'm not going to find where it says it. I just know it says it. Anyway, so more of them fall out the board game, but that's a low bar. They only had 5 scenarios. So, yeah, anyway, as if the price is right, you get a little bit of enjoyment out of even the unboxing. In my opinion, even the unboxing can almost be worth the price of admission depending on that price, of course. But it'd be kind of cool to get a Goonies board game. Maybe I'll get it for my wife, so quiet on that. Maybe she'd like that. I think she could get out of opening it. Next up, Deliverance. The Christian themed kind of, I guess, I don't know, just board game. I'm not going to say skirmish game per se. Essentially, you play angels, you're fighting demons. And like modern world stuff. Seems kind of interesting. The minis actually look pretty darn cool. I dig that. I love the giant, braid. For whatever reason, a lot of Norse, I love Norse stuff. A lot of Norse minis get that big braid, right? That like really thick braid. For whatever reason, I always kind of liked that. That was kind of cool. So dig that. Like the long hair on the, angels. I think these instantly already look better than, what Mass of Darkness offered, but that's a low bar as well. I will say that it looks like he has the special power from the Mortal Kombat guy that they made up. Just the etching on his skin. I didn't think it when I first saw it, but I've seen Mortal Kombat, I think that. But it's supposed to be these runes that you can paint on, right? Kind of like, I don't know, what they like tattoos, I guess. But yeah, I mean, it looks cool. Here's Michael the Archangel. I think he's just have an auto win, right? He should just win. But he can pray, he can do a mighty smite, inner strength, overhand, and advance, right? You get all these different angels and stuff that you can do. I don't even know what's going on there. Some kind of, it starts out looking very kind of basic Christian, and then it goes like, right, with like whatever plant arm dude this guy is, or like some of the like here, it's like, okay, a fallen angel, sure, yeah, okay, I'm down with that. But then you get like these demons. It's like, what the heck is going on here? Why are there frog people? So anyway, looks interesting. As far as I can tell, I think it looks like, here's some of the minis. These are probably 3D prints, I imagine, but they're painted up. Here you can see a little bit of the board. You can actually play this on Tabletop Simulator. Again, I'll link down to this below, but it looks like there's some people you can try to save. Perhaps all the demons are trying to bug them, perhaps, maybe. Definitely has my eye. I'm definitely looking into it, that's for sure. I really kind of dig that. There was a book series I read once as a teen. It was very much like the whole angels and demons, but in modern time, like within the world, and they were kind of waging their own kind of war thing. Very cool kind of, fantasy based on Christian lore stuff that I think is just fascinating. So I think that's super cool. Next up, we have Ardea, The Path We Dare Tread. Now this got big buzz because at first people were thinking this was a sandbox Xia, or Xia, or that's like the English language, XIA. Anyway. It's not. He started out that way, but then spun this off to be its own thing. That being said, it is kind of where its roots came, but he wanted more of a RPG feel to it, not just more of the sandbox feel to it. And in my opinion, I'm all about it. So color me interested in that. Definitely interested to see that. That, and he had a very adorable picture of him painting miniatures with his daughter, and I think that's awesome. As a father of 2 daughters that love to paint as well, I think that's just great. So definitely interested in this. Now, I've only ever seen this, right? He doesn't show a whole bunch of other stuff, not on Board Game Geek either. But I like XP, I like dice, I like minis, I like fantasy. So far, I'm interested. So we'll see. Definitely sounds cool. So I'm digging that. Okay, a little bit of a talking point here. Sea of Legends. If you haven't known, the delivery of Sea of Legends has been kind of a disaster. So everybody first got their game, but it was pretty much unplayable because the app wasn't ready yet. So you had this big old paperweight of a board game because, again, it's not playable without the app. The app is required. So if that app isn't working, you do not have a game accessible to you. That was the case when they actually delivered it. It was everything I said proven right there, right? Everybody's got, oh, can you imagine? I can't imagine. That would suck so bad to get this game and you're so excited and you open it up and then you find out you can do jack all with it. There's nothing to do. Look at the minis, I guess, and wish you bought a board game that's playable. But since then, I think they've fixed it and they've been pushing that out. However, they had an issue where they didn't order enough. And so then, several people weren't able to get their games. 25 backers. They had to essentially, they took excess stock in places and then air freighted it for like $10,000 to these other places and still ended up where 25 people were not going to have a copy. Now, a lot of companies, Command did this with Time Machine, a lot of other companies will do this where they'll just go make some more and then they'll get it late. I forget what other company did that. I want to say Mythic Games did that for one, didn't they? Maybe it was Monolith. I forget. Either way, it has happened before. Okay, so globally launching a product is hard logistically, regardless, especially as it's kind of a Kickstarter board game company. But either way, normally what they are, it's like, hey, we're so sorry. Here, we're going to ship you your game. We're making it right now in China, but it'll be a little bit. So you'll have to wait 3 extra months or 4 extra months. And it sucks. Okay? But that's not what happened here. Instead, what happened is they contacted these 25 people. And these weren't just late pledgers. These were just 25 random people of the list that aren't going to get it, right? And because they had like damaged product and stuff like that. I don't think it shipped it out well, I guess. Anyway. So if you were the unlucky one to get this, you got this email saying you're just going to get a refund. You just don't get the game. And the refund was for the exact amount, which means thanks to conversion rate, you lost money, like $35 kind of thing, right? Because in other words, if you backed it at 100, but now that 100 isn't worth as much anymore. So when they give you back the 100 and it converts back to your currency, the conversion rate's worse and you're out money. So you've now lost money on top of being out of that money for a whole year with 0 product to show for it. It's checking 3 boxes of negativity on how to do this. It's not a good practice. This is not how you should do this. This is, so if you're a developer, first of all, make enough, and make a game to where it's actually playable when you deliver it, ideally. And I'm not giving any quarter for that either, okay? Cause at that point, the app is part of the game. It's like making it with a broken rule book. If you deliver a game with a crap rule book, people are going to call you on a crap rule book. Well, you made a game with an unworkable app at the beginning, so people are going to call you on that too, or at least I will. So yeah, it's just been bad. I mean, first of all, the whole $10,000 air freighting and moving all that stuff around. And then and then as this is going on, right, they've been advertising their next game. Oh, by the way, give us some more money because we did so great on this. Oh, what a mess. For the people that are actually being able to get the game that they bought and play it, I've heard people are having fun with it. So that's good. But this has been kind of a train wreck, in my opinion. Just because it's not so much that there's a whole bunch of negative things. There's 2, right? They delivered it unplayable, and they didn't make enough of it, and then gave people a bad refund value. So they lost money for a year, and they lost money on the return, and still got nothing for it. So again, very bad. But it's how bad that is, right? To deliver an unplayable game, to make it to where a customer is left with less money than they had a year ago and they still get nothing for it. Like it's just bad. Most companies, I would think, would at least say, hey, here, our next Kickstarter, if nothing else, our next Kickstarter, you're going to get the game for free. Here's a refund and we'll just give you a copy of the next one. Right? Or something. I mean, it just, oh my gosh, because the bad word of mouth can cost so much more than a free game down the line. Right? All they ought to do is complain and have 2 people be like, I don't know if I trust this company enough. And now you've lost money. It would have been cheaper just to give him that. Because he lost 2 whole sales. And then again, they tell people, and then they tell people, and then I make a video on it, and just messy. And I don't know. It sucks. It sucks. I apologize to you guys on behalf of them if you got kind of shafted like this. That really does suck. There needs to be a lot more push for consumers getting what they deserve. And what they deserve is not $35 less. It's not. And no product. Hey, thanks for the money loan to this business. By the way, we're not going to give you any item. Here's less money back. That just sucks. Okay, moving on. Warhammer is doing a Warhammer Plus. It's like Disney Plus, but for Warhammer. They're going to have these shows on there. They're going to be really short. I don't know the price. It's probably going to be overpriced. It's weird. I don't know. They are making Astartes too. So there's that. They look high quality. It mostly depends on price, right? And then how often these are actually coming out and how much oomph they have. If they're 10-minute webisodes or some junk, it's not going to cut it. So I'll keep an eye on that. I'll let you guys know. Okay. There was a price or a point change in Warhammer as well. These are the ones that dropped the most. We got Land Raiders, we got Storm Speeders, we got Immortals, we got Wraith Guards, we got Gene Stealers. For me, the Immortals were probably the biggest one. I was waiting to buy Immortals until they got a model upgrade. They were the old kind with the more perfect armor, less living metal damage, and they are a lot kind of stockier and more rigid and it's more put together. It kind of fits for Immortals anyway, so it might be that. I want Immortals because I want just a small 5-man to hold like the objective in my deployment zone, as opposed to spinning a whole 10 warrior blob just to keep an objective. That seems rather expensive, so I'd rather just keep a small one of Immortals. But maybe I'll actually just do a small unit of Scarabs too. I don't know. So maybe I'll still skip on that. There is a patrol box coming out with Immortals in it as well, so maybe it'll be useful there. They got some Doom Blades too, so. Anyway, lastly, I'm going to talk about how Prison Architect is not being made. No, I'm not going to yell a lot about this. I guess it's interesting. So again, I come from the video game industry, okay? And the video game industry is so much different than the board game industry. So much different. This is a much beloved and popular game in the video game industry, which is why I was having a board game done that. It's an interesting management thing. It's kind of like The Sims and SimCity. So it's like The Sims where you're having to keep people's, needs met and everything. And then it's like SimCity where it's like you have different sectors and you're trying to do different things. Anyway, it's like a management game. They are canceling it. They're not going to make the Prison Architect. I don't actually care for a lot of this kind of stuff, right? I don't. I mean, it is interesting to see how different the industries are, right? Like I'm coming from the hold on, wait, I'll pull this up. Hold on, because this would be funny. Okay, hold on. Anyway, I come off of just a totally different industry and attitude. So for instance, one of the biggest games in video games is Grand Theft Auto, and this is how they advertise Grand Theft Auto. This is official advertising there. And I can imagine the board gamers freaking out about how the woman is dressed and how she's being treated and how that guy is. And there's a lot to decouple there, right? He's got the bong right there. He's got pizza. He's got his thing. He's flipping her off. She's upset. He doesn't care. It's just amazing that there's an industry that has that, but then also has Minecraft for kids and all these other games, and essentially something for everyone, right? It's a much more mature industry than the board game is. And I don't mean mature as in adult, because that's really mature. I don't mean like South Park stuff or whatever, but though it has a South Park game too. I meant mature as in it's more okay with having offerings for different people, that have different tastes, right? Now, the only thing I'm going to comment here is this right here, this modern, it's glorifying systematic oppression of modern day slavery. The reason I'm going to point this out is just because, and again, I'm not trying to make anybody upset. I love people. I love you guys. I really do. Growing up in Mississippi, you see a lot of historical focus on slavery. And it's sad when people like David here and others, I think, are so far removed from the actualities of how terrible slavery is, that they throw it around casually like it's nothing, to where they say, oh, prison, it's just like modern day. No, it's nothing like slavery. Nothing like slavery. At all. It's like saying when I ground my kids no. The things they would do to slaves, how they were really treated, is nothing like in prison. I'm not saying prison's great. I'm not saying a for-profit system's great. I'm not saying any of that, okay? I'm just a simple dude. But I have firsthand seen and learned and heard about some of the atrocities that slavery caused and would just do rampant. So to casually throw it out, to me, it's just like casually throwing out the Holocaust or something like that. Like, I can't believe people can so easily say, like the Mandalorian chick got fired for this crap, right? Because she's taking something that is, in all accounts, kind of petty, right? I mean, yeah, there's like persecution on both sides and blah, 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 or whatever she feels, and that's fine. But to compare that to the Holocaust and Jews? Come on, that's not even the same thing. And the same thing here, to be honest. To compare a for-profit American prison system to the terrible vileness of what slaves endured blows my mind how people can be so removed from the subject to just casually throw that around. So I'm fine if you don't want to put your company next to Prison Architect. I can understand that. Okay? That's fine. But we got to be careful about bringing stuff like slavery down a whole bunch of notches to compare it to something like prison in modern day. I don't think there's a prison in this world right now that is as bad as what slavery was. It was not hunky-dory. It was not fine, and it was not okay. It just wasn't. Not at all. Okay, so, anyway, I wanted to point that out. Maybe it's because it came from the South. Maybe it's because I've seen a lot of this kind of stuff, and I've dealt with a lot of this kind of stuff. So maybe I'm a bit more attached than David is here. Maybe he's far removed from it. So from a far off angle, you can kind of see the similarities maybe, and you don't really realize how bad slavery actually was and how terrible of a thing it was. But anyway, okay. So we're not going to have it anymore. Maybe some other company is willing to do it. I don't know. It was a game I was going to get anyway. I just really wanted to point. I'm trying to pick I don't want to upset people. I really don't. I just realize, I guess, what you're comparing things to, and don't casually use stuff that's heavy, right? Don't just casually call people racist. Don't just casually say that anything modern is like slavery, or that your treatment's like the Holocaust victims or anything like any of that kind of junk. It's all stupid. It was stupid when she did it. It's stupid when this is here. Like, it's just, it's terrible. It strips away its identity, right? Like it's how bad it was. I mean, you can think that's bad, but it wasn't. It ain't no slavery. It's not. It's not. So anyway, just wanted to point that out there. Feel free to discuss it in there. Please don't get upset at me. I love you. I love people. I love everyone. I'm a happy guy, and I'm glad you're here in the industry, and I'm totally willing to talk about stuff. I just want to make sure that we are actually being mature in and real about how we talk about things. Anyway, that's it. I didn't want to end on a bad note. So don't end on a good note. It's a good day. I don't know how your day is. Again, my dogs and daughters are playing outside, having a great time, oblivious to all the problems that BGG is showing, and, you know, all the problems in the industry and all that kind of stuff, or what board games are coming out or anything like that. It's a good day. Have a good day. Enjoy your weekend. I know I will. I don't know if I'm barbecuing. My wife will inform me if I'm barbecuing. I'll let you guys know if I barbecue, I guess. I have some big videos coming up. Got Rainbow Six Siege. We're looking at that. Stay tuned for that. And again, link down below to the INTOTHEAM freaking awesome shirts. Great company. They got their heads screwed on straight as far as I can tell. Great prices and really cool designs. So there's that. So link down below there. I'll go on and let you guys go. Have a great day.